I riffed on the subject. Mark Penn is writing how furious he is. You know, there can be no anti-Semitism. It's anti-American. There should be no tent big enough to include it. I mean, the Democrats are just hanging themselves, and these socialist dogs will never hunt come November. That's what I think.
Well, I think, Larry, that the problem that they have is that they're scared of their base. They're scared of their activist, loud, youngster cohort that has been indoctrinated for decades now on the evils of capitalism. And, Larry, I'm going to do something that I really have never done on television, which is admit a borderline crime. And that's that I have a very overdue library book. I have a copy of It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism by one Bernie Sanders that I checked out from the local library quite a long time ago.
Very good.
And I keep it for safekeeping where it can damage no one's ideas in the back of my Mercedes. And so the simple situation here is that the DSA, all of these people, all of the Sanders sort of folks who came up, supporting his ridiculous ideas, they now own the party. They direct the party, and they're putting these ridiculous candidates forward who I think, as you do, are going to be something that really dogs the Democrats come November, and that they're all going to have to make excuses for. And look, at the end of the day, who could possibly know that the guy with the Totenkopf tattoo on his chest would be a bad idea to nominate for
Yeah, who would have thought? Right, what a crazy thought that is. What a crazy thought. Or here, Ben Ferguson, the writers at the New York Times, right? You have these, they were leading the charge of the Me Too movement and all the rest of it, and we mustn't have any of these sexual allegations.
Must believe all women.
Wait a minute, this story has been out there, these allegations have been out there. Nobody paid any mind to it. Whoops! What happened there? What?
Shocker.
Where was the
Democratic
vetting?
Party? Yeah, Democratic Party has zero moral values anymore. If you're expecting a moral code from them, you're stupid for believing they have one. The only thing they care about is winning, and they will destroy their own if the polling shows they might lose. If you don't believe me, there's a guy by the name of Eric Swalwell in California who's unemployed right now. You can call that guy, and he will tell you how fast they will dismiss you as soon as they think that you cannot win. Now, if they think you can win, this goes back to Graham Plattner, and who cares if he has an SS Nazi tattoo, right? This is a guy that as long as you can win, they are willing to overlook any moral compass that the rest of the country has. It doesn't matter if you molested women, raped women, stolen from people, got a Nazi tattoo. They are fine with you until you can't win. And then when you can't, they'll be the ones that actually come after you. And they use, what's crazy is the media. The liberal media keeps destroying these guys only when they get their marching orders from the Democratic Party. And they're like, hey, we got a problem. This guy may not win. So now we got to tell all the dirty laundry we knew about him. Everything we protected him from, everything we overlooked him from. That is the Democratic Party now. They're pretty sick people right now.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, those socialists / communists, whatever, godless communism, as Trump put it, those dogs are not going to hunt in November. At least that's my take.
They're sick people, as Trump said. I couldn't agree with it more.
Ben Domenech, you mentioned early in your original take about the evils of capitalism, right? Now, who would have thought that J.D. Vance in a Daily Wire podcast would be talking about the evils of Milton Friedman, really? Margaret Thatcher, really? Meritocracy, really? Freedom and free enterprise? What? My jaw is still dropped. I mean, J.D. Vance is a good man. He's been a help to President Trump, but he's saying stuff that he shouldn't be saying, if you ask me. I mean, we're going to have an economic tutorial of some kind.
Well, I'm pretty sure, Larry, that Peter Thiel wouldn't have been able to parachute into Ohio and help out J.D. Vance get to that Senate seat if not for the agency of capitalism.
Yes.
Look, Milton Friedman is basically undefeated in his arguments. And you can say that there are different, ebbs and flows in American history, and you can say we need to have, some insourcing because of global security issues. We don't want to be as dependent on China or on other nations that might not have our best interests in light when it comes to, the production of certain goods, drugs and things like that we depend on, as a country. That's fine. That's consistent with the founding generation and more. But by the way, I always, people invoke Alexander Hamilton all the time about this kind of stuff. They get him wrong on this point. He actually, what he actually was writing at the time, and he did this in his, gigantic writing on manufacturers in America. He said, we need to supplement because we lack the private funds.
Right.
We need to have public supplement because we lack the private funds. In other words, the private funds would be more ideal, but because we're a fledgling nation, we have to do these different things to compete. And people should take lessons from that. And those lessons are not, let's revert to all, forget all the lessons we've learned about capitalism over the last century and pretend that it doesn't exist.
You do not want big government socialism. And by the way, Alexander Hamilton did not want it. Neither did Milton Friedman. Neither did Margaret Thatcher. Incidentally, back in those days, the only revenues Uncle Sam had, fledgling Uncle Sam, new Uncle Sam, were tariff revenues. There was no income tax.
Yes. Maybe
we should think about that. Ben Ferguson, I'm going to give you the last word because a political question on this. Vice President Vance, again, it's not personal. I mean, I like J.D. Vance, and I think he's helped President Trump, but I really think he badly misspoken about these things on the economy. Does this open the door for other Republicans as potential presidential candidates?
Yeah, not just yes, but hell yes. And look, I think this is why Republicans need to make sure there's not a coronation and there needs to be a grand, robust debate. J.D. Vance, and if you look at his history in politics, he is not Donald Trump. He does not believe the same things that Donald Trump believes on core issues like this. And so I think, and if you look at even the Iran deal and what he brought to the president, I think there were some flaws in that. We need to have a grand debate. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy, but we need to have a grand debate because Cliff notes economics, and that's what it seemed like J.D. Vance was giving us, like an AI chat GBT version. Well, it's a disaster. And so you've got to actually understand it before you can lead on it. And I think this was a major misstep by the vice president. I don't believe this is exactly what Donald Trump believes either. And Republicans need to say clearly, hey, we want a grand debate. We want a lot of people on stage. We want to talk these things out because when you get this Cliff Notes AI version of history and economics, it doesn't work well for the country, and he should know better.
All right, well, we will leave it there. Anyway, I was pretty surprised myself, but life is full of surprises. Ben Ferguson, Ben Domenech, thank you very much. Ben Domenech, what is it? In your back seat of your car, you've got the writings of Bernie Sanders. This is an autographed copy.
I'm just making sure it doesn't infect the minds of any of our young, impressionable people.
Larry, notice his car he mentioned was not a Tesla or electric vehicle. He was throwing that out there just to inspire young people to buy those gas cars as well.
I just want to say, in prior years on another network, I was hosting a show, and Senator Sanders came on the show quite frequently, and I bump into him. He's a lovely person, by the way, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not for socialism, but I'm saying, again, it's not personal. It's just on the principles of the thing. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Gotta look up to a man with that many houses.
Yeah, capitalism made it possible. Anyway, coming up here in this evening, is the Republican Senate ever going to get moving and cut the capital gains tax in a 3.0 reconciliation budget bill? How about that? We'll ask Senator Jim Banks of Indiana when Kudlow returns. And remember, it's pretty wild and woolly tonight. You can catch Kudlow Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. every day right here on fabulous Fox Business. And if for some reason you can't make it at 4, just text your favorite 9-year-old, and she will show you how to DVR the show. And you'll never miss the virtues of freedom, free market capitalism, and free enterprise. How about those apples?